Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with me. I'm your host, Brian. This is the BrianTMurray YouTube channel. I think we should talk about what happened this week. You see the title of the show, you see the thumbnail. Um, uh, in my belief, Brooklyn won the trade. That's my belief. Brooklyn won the trade. The reason I say that is because during this whole process, you had Daryl Morey who was asking for first round picks and a top star. How do you go from asking for first round picks and you giving away first round picks? Like, what happened? Talk to me. What happened? And this is what it has gotten down to is because a lot of people are saying that Philadelphia won the trade because they got James Harden. Y'all, we're assuming a lot of things here. I mean, we're not taking players like like in regular years where this player is doing this thing, this player is doing his thing, and they got traded for each other. This is not what that is. This is not what that is. Oh no, no. Oh no. Oh no. You have James Harden, who they have him listed at 220 pounds. Uh they still say he's 20 pounds. Let's say that is true at him being at 220, which it doesn't sound untrue. He's still overweight. He's still overweight. James Harden had never committed himself to a off season regimen. Okay, and what I mean by that, you look at LeBron James' physique, you look at Damian Lillard's physique, you see Steph Curry have bulked up over these past couple of years to prevent injury. As you get older, you have got to change the way you take care of your body. When you're 40, you can't eat like you're 20. When you're 20, you can't eat like you're 10. Okay? Each level of your life has its own revelation. Has its own revelation. You hear more about James Harden and his epic nights at strip clubs and giving struggle IG models money and everything. It's like you hear more about that than what he does in the off season. We have seen James Harden throughout his entire career in Houston just have a meltdown. Now, I know that last one he had with Chris Paul. I know everyone puts the fact that Chris Paul had a hamstring injury. I don't feed into that too much because they are assuming that Houston would have beat Golden State. Here is my thing: Andre Iguodala was also hurt, so their number one perimeter defender was what was out the majority of the series. Houston only took them that far because Iggy was hurt. You had Steph and Clay that had to guard guys they typically don't guard guys and for relatively long stretches. So yeah, let's not act like everything was all equal and Houston was getting ready to eliminate Golden State. They weren't. They weren't. You keep saying how Chris Paul was hurt. So what is Iggy? Yeah. So James Harden, I've never been a James Harden fan. Never been a James Harden fan. I heard Kobe when Kobe said when OKC um, knocked the Lakers out of the playoffs. I think this was 2009 to 2010. Um, Maybe 2012. Whatever year that was. Kobe said the difference maker was James Harden because there was nothing the Lakers could have done that would have neutralized James Harden. Okay, I get it. He when James Harden was coming off the bench in OKC, any given night, 20-30, any given night, coming off the bench, fine. But once he got traded, which uh, Presley should not have. Oh my goodness, you should. Anyway, when Harden went to Houston and they gave him that entire franchise, it's like I never liked anything I saw from him. Never. People put so much stock in regular season numbers. I'm like, none of that matters. None of that matters. No one says about Jordan or Kobe about how great just their regular season numbers were. It's like the regular season numbers were appetizer to the main event. It was the playoffs and championships. That was the major thing. Harden doesn't have that. He doesn't. He doesn't have that. And as he's going down, as he's gotten later in his career, more injuries have gotten up. Why? Because he does not take care of himself during the offseason, because he still thinks that he could just show up and he'll play himself into a shape. He has a God-given talent. There's no question about it. There's no question about it. When he goes ISO, it's like, that's amazing. But I still feel like, as Kobe said, that's not sustainable. Because you're wearing out the defense, but you don't factor out the fact that you're wearing yourself out. You're going one-on-one for 40 minutes a game. So I never liked James Harden. That does not mean I would never get his jersey per se, but I never liked James Harden, man. I mean, ugh. Just can't do it. The way he pushed himself out of Houston was a disgrace. It was a disgrace. When he showed up in that pregame with added on 20 pounds, when already he looked like a black Santa Claus. I mean, seriously, he looked like a black Santa Claus. Yeah. So Brooklyn, they traded for him because they wasn't sure about the Kyrie. One, I'm never a fan of working with your friends. You think that's the greatest thing when you're 30, but when you're 40 and up, it's like no, because they are my friends. That does not mean I want to work with them. it's yeah. That is truly a millennial thing. That is true. It's like that's not important. That's not important to me. For us to be friends and to work together, that's not important. It's like it's not the friendships, it's the talent. It's like, hey, emotional IQ is overlooked. We just saw the All-Star draft of KD avoiding James Harden like he was the plague. Where the year before he was the number one player that he selected. What changed? What changed? I don't like players taking franchises hostages and forcing their way out. I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan. I understand you don't want to play, but like you have teammates. You have teammates. You have a coach. I mean, people if they get fired, they gotta move. They have to uproot their children. They have to uproot their family. it's not like regular people. If I lose a job, I can go across town and get another job. It's like, no, that's not how the league works. So yeah, I'm never a fan of these guys taking people franchises hostages, man. Coach can't talk to him. The coach got to talk to him as if he's a preteen and all this other stuff. Hey, James, how are you feeling today? Do you think you're going to play tonight? No, no, you're not playing tonight. Okay, 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 sure, sure. Okay, okay, okay. I'm never okay with that. I'm never. I'm not saying you have to act like you have a 9 to 5, but you do gotta act like a professional, man. This is crazy, man. I Daryl and I have for years went back and forth on James Harden. Everything I said about James Harden became true. He won't win. He will wear down. This was before I realized that he wasn't in the greatest of a shape. I thought the wearing down was based on the fact that his style of play, which is essentially unguardable. But with him dribbling the ball out of the air, you have your four teammates that stand around like, what do you want us to do? And then turn around and complain about how you're not getting enough help. It's like, because KD, Russ, and Harden are of the quintessential disgruntled employee, millennial with leverage, they are burning bridges. KD and Russ don't talk. Russ and Harden don't talk. And now Harden and KD don't talk. Why? Because you are basically children. You are children. You're passive aggressive. You don't talk things out. You are children. You are just immature, and all the league has done was empower you because of your gifts and talents. Life doesn't work that way. And let me tell you, the NBA is not life. It is its own pocket universe, but that is not how life works. Disgraceful, man. It is insane. The report was that James Harden did not want to ask for a trade is because he was afraid of the backlash that he would get forcing his way out of a second situation. You already got backlash. It's because they reported what you're trying to do. When you stop showing up to work, it's because you are trying to force. That's when everyone caught on. It's like, is he hurt? Is he really hurt? So Harden can point his finger at Kyrie Irving all he wants. It's like, if it wasn't that, it would be something else. What Kyrie Irving is doing, I mean, the whole whatever side that you stand on as far as the vaccine or whatever. Okay, fine. You have your personal, but man, it's people counting on you. It's people counting on you. I know none of us knew what COVID was. It's a time ago, 24 months ago, but what you do is affecting everybody else. And yes, we have seen you show up at birthday parties and be on political streams and everything when you're not at work. People won't forget that. We saw you force your way out of Cleveland. We saw you force your way out of Boston. It is all these millennials are doing is forcing, 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 forcing. It's like, okay, okay, okay. We're giving them so much credit on their incredible handles and their jump shot and their gifts and talents. Okay, fine. Amen. Great. But we're not liking everything else we're seeing from them. The number one thing is their emotional IQ. Emotional IQ. You're not being like men. You are 30, and y'all are in your 30s acting like teenagers, handling grown man business. It is painful. It is painful. And these bridges y'all are burning, the people who people don't want anything to do with you. People don't want anything to do with you. And then all you can do is call them a hater. It's like you accept zero of responsibility for your own actions. This is wrong. This is wrong. You are responsible for what you are responsible for what you are responsible for. Oh, they don't get it. I'm trying to do me. It's like, what does that mean when you're on a team? Man, when the Levert was with Brooklyn and Kyrie and KD wasn't playing, Levert was dropping like 30, 20, 30, 40 points because the Brooklyn Stars weren't there. He's like, I have to. And his stock rose. And the moment him and Dinwiddie, the moment they got out of Brooklyn. It's like, I'm not dealing with this. I'm not dealing with this. It's like, what if Dinwiddie and Levert would have stayed? Look what you could have been, and you didn't even need James Harden. But guys just tapping out all the time. Tapping out all the time. It's like, look, all this diva stardom, this is going to catch up to y'all. This is going to catch up to y'all. So, what makes you think Harden is going to stay healthy these last 20 games? And what makes you think Harden and Embiid and Doc Rivers, who number one, Harden is the one who got Kevin McHale fired in Houston. Everyone thought it was Dwight Howard, James Harden. I hope Doc Rivers like being fired is because his destiny is going to be in the hands of another millennial superstar. This is a 50-year-old man with grown children and with grandchildren being fired off of the word of superstar diva millennials. This is crazy. This is crazy. It's not right. It is not right. Yeah. No. Look, dysfunction in itself won't prosper. We've seen you force your way out of two situations. The league at most will allow you one pass. You did it in two places. You wrecked Houston, and man, I mean, they get petty. Sorry, ladies, but they get petty like girls. Like this is not how men function. This is not how grown men function. This is not great. This is not great. Mm, this is not great, man. Yeah, still not a hard fan. You know, when he got to when all them came to Brooklyn and Steve Nash I was like, until they do it, until they do it, Brooklyn have done nothing. Until they do it, I get it. KD toe is on the 3-point line. It would have eliminated Milwaukee. Okay, didn't work out. As painful as that was, didn't work out. Number one, if Brooklyn was so good, why did it take a game 7 to even to begin with? I knew Milwaukee would have beat them. Game 1 and game 2, when Brooklyn just buzzsawed through Milwaukee, everyone was like, "This series is done." I was like, "My bet is still on Milwaukee." Why? Because Milwaukee have done it before. They Coach Bud have been to conference finals, have taken 2 teams to the conference finals. Steve Nash have done nothing other than make the playoffs. Congrats. That's only the beginning. And KD is so KD and Kyrie Irving was so concerned about getting away out of the shadow of Steph Curry and the LeBron James. Everywhere y'all have gone, it's like it's always someone else's fault. It's always someone else's fault. When Draymond Green let loose on KD, I was with KD. I was like, yeah, man, that's you. Hold on there. Hold on. And Golden State was right, and Draymond Green concurred. He was like, yeah, that was right for them to suspend me. Yeah, craziness, craziness. Let's move on to Ben Simmons. I was never a Ben Simmons fan because I never understood what he was. Honestly, I never understood what he was. Like I knew that he was great on fast breaks, but I live in Washington. I've seen John Wall's uh, the majority of his career in Washington. John Wall was great on the fast break too, but that still doesn't mean he knew how to play defense. It still didn't mean he had a jumper. He had to play. He had to work into those things. I was against Philly giving Ben Simmons all of that money. It's like, what has he done? What has he done? I mean, franchises are so concerned about locking up players. It's like you're locking up guys that haven't done anything. And then you're trying to find ways to recoup money or get more production out of them. It's like, it's not all their fault. You empowered them. You empowered them. So Ben Simmons, that whole situation with him versus Atlanta, that was disgraceful. That was disgraceful. And these are all these players not taking accountability. They're not taking accountability. The every opportunity they get, they're pointing the finger at someone else. It's like, well, what do you really want them to do? You have empowered them. You have empowered them. When these players start making 100 million plus, it's and the coach is getting paid 2 million. It's like it doesn't really work like that. So I never understood what Ben Simmons was when he was coming out of LSU. People spoke of him as in the second coming. It's like I don't understand the second coming of what? What can he do? So well, he is a point guard who says before Brent Brown got fired, I like what he did um, in the bubble. He took Ben Simmons off from being the point guard. It's like ah. You can't guard other point guards. I mean, you can switch off on them, but like you're not really guarding them. You're not really stopping them from doing anything. So let's not act like it's like no. We'll have a more traditional point guard and just take it from there. I like that. I really did. Then he got hurt and missed the entire playoffs, and then Philly got swept by Boston. It's like, what are we doing? What are we doing? So it's like it's it's not making sense. It's not making sense. So when the fallout from the playoffs last year happened, people just being honest. It hurt his feelings, and he tapped out. Oh boy, we got to deal with this. We got to deal with this. So to fast forward, when Ben Simmons used the whole mental illness thing, it's like uh, mental illness in itself is very real. I talk about therapy on this show all the time, but he's using that for leverage because the moment he said mental illness, everyone backed off like, "Oh, that's that's so important. The pressures that it, today's athlete, you know, who went through a lot was athletes in the '70s who played professional sports and in the off season still had to get full-time jobs. That was pressure. That was pressure. Bill Russell being the star of Boston in the '60s, while his home being broken into and vandalized because of the color of his skin. So let's just knock off this whole nonsense about oh they have the weight of the work. Everyone had their own stuff to deal with. Everyone has their own stuff to deal with. Okay, get over it. This is crazy. This is crazy. So, in theory, Ben Simmons going to Brooklyn, that sounds like it will work. It's because I am a firm believer of less is more. Let's say KD is healthy and playing. Let's see Kyrie Irving is healthy and playing. Ben Simmons don't have to worry about, yo, I need my shots. He's not trying to shoot. He can be an offensive Dennis Rodman. He can do everything else but get the offense going. It's like great. He doesn't have to. That sounds good. That theory. But again, this is what I've been saying the whole video. It's going to come down to emotional IQ. Somebody's going to say something. It's going to rub him the wrong way, and he's going to tap out. KD, when they got KD and Ben Simmons on the phone, KD was like, "We got work to do, man. We're trying to win a championship." He's talking to a player who has not played 1 second of an NBA game through the first 55 games. What do you think is going to happen? He's going to start playing for Brooklyn. and he's going to get hurt. We see it in the NFL all the time. Guys who don't play preseason, they are not conditioned through the first 4 games of the league. They don't just tic tac injuries and all these other. It's like, what are you doing? It doesn't work the same. It's crazy. Brooklyn's not going anywhere. Milwaukee is sitting there like, well, Milwaukee is not scared of anybody in the East. Miami's sitting there like, all y'all friends playing together? Milwaukee and Miami, they're friends because they win together. That's how they become friends. They win together. Mm. It's craziness. It's crazy. And the league is just as guilty as I've said earlier because they keep empowering these unproven players. So, to what Stephen A. Smith said, that the owners are coming for the players. This next collective bargaining agreement, owners are upset is because they have watched these players get paid for not playing. Nowhere other in life do you receive payment for good and services undelivered. When Malika Andrews had Adam Silver on her new show in NBA Today, I believe the name of it is. She asked Adam Silver, he's like, what do you think about the Ben Simmons situation? The first thing he said was, it just goes to show, this is why we have contracts. I was like, yeah, okay. The world doesn't function without contracts. The world does not function without contracts. The more valuable you are, the more your goods and services is needed. A contract or something in writing is required. Y'all are getting ready to learn the hard way. And that's all us 9 to 5 people sitting by like, told you. Because what hardworking Americans do not deal with, they don't deal with sympathizing for non-figure athletes not going to work. They don't sympathize with that. We accept load management if the team is winning. If we know we're going to see you in the playoffs down the road, we would deal with that. But what we don't deal with is just people just tapping out. It's like, no. We don't like that. See, when Pop had San Antonio sitting out, and when Steve Kerr has Steph Curry and Draymond and James Wiseman and all of them sitting out, people don't have that kind of problem with that because we know we're gonna see them down the line. But all these unproven players, it's like, and guys not trying to come back because the team is losing, it's like, your absence is a major reason why the team is losing. Everybody can tap out except the coach. And you don't fire just one coach. you essentially fire nine is because his entire coaching staff. Very rarely do people get retained after a head coach receive because the new coach coming, they want their own staff, rightfully so. This this is crazy. This is crazy. So in my mind, Brooklyn won the draft, but Philly is going to do much better. Brooklyn, we don't. Brooklyn might lock down that eighth seed, but we know they got to do the play-in. If if y'all catch Charlotte or Atlanta or Boston, there's no guarantee Brooklyn is going to make the playoffs. Trying to tell you, trying to tell you. So yeah, this sport, the way it's currently constructed, is in a very bad place. This is why Stephen A. Smith is saying the owners are coming for the players. Is because they're still getting paid for services not rendered. This is going to change. This is going to change dramatically. And players can push back all they want, but this is not right. It's fine when the Spurs did it, is because the Spurs were still winning championships. It's fine when Golden State did it because we are talking about individual players tapping out of the team concept, still getting paid. It's like, why are we paying them then? Joseph Tsai, when Katie was recovering from his knee injury, because Kevin Durant is a very rare talent, you knew you still had to pay him the first year, even though he was still hurt. Ownership is going to only deal with you but for so long before you have to start answering for stuff. Craziness, craziness, absolutely craziness. All right, y'all. Want to keep learning the hard way. Like Stephen A. said, the owner's coming for y'all. All right. Catch y'all later. Take care.